Welcome there, Resume Gaming. I'm Rush, and hopefully this is going to be a video that will get you a free performance boost with XPlane 11. Now, let me preface this video with just a little bit. I'm in no way associated with a company that has developed this software, and I have limited experience with this software as well. I'm not a computer expert or anything like that, but I've seen tangible differences with upgrading to this software. So this is kind of like a beta video, if you will, to just kind of get a feeling if other people are seeing the same performance buff that I see with my computer. Let's just talk just briefly about hardware, just really briefly here, is I'm using an i7 chip, a 6700K with an overclock with hyperthreading enabled, and on Windows 10. I'm seeing so far with the other people that have worked with this program is multi-threaded chips where we're seeing the largest performance boost. So if you're running an i5 chip or something like that, I don't know if you're going to see similar performances. And if you're running on Windows 7 Pro, you're probably not going to have the problems that I've been seeing in Windows 10. But if you fall into that category of Intel i5 chip, or maybe one of the new fancy Ryzen chips, Windows 10 and XPlane, this video probably will be for you. So let's get into it. Let's go ahead and show you the software. We'll download it, show you the whole process, and then give you some options. Quite simply, I'll put a link down below. This is the software here. It's called Process Lasso. It's got some bullcrap here. It's real-time optimization, blah, 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 blah. The company that does it is Bitsum, and they have a current version and a version 9 beta. I'm using the current version, not the beta version. It gives you a whole heap of information about what the hell it is. It kind of does look a little bit spammy with with images like this, but everywhere else, do your own research. There's a forum built about this company. They've got their own forums where the guy that writes the code is there. And if you are a Reddit troll like me, you'll see that this pops up all over the place. And people have been using this program for P3D for years. So let's get into it, let's install it. So we're going to install a 64-bit process. It's going to give us a thing that pops up there. I'm going to go run blah, 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 blah. It's going to run through its installation program. I'm not going to do it because I've already got it installed. Follow the standard prompts. Bar one thing. Here is where we can divert into two separate mentalities. Is this program, basically what it's going to do is take over the resource management that Windows does. Yes, there's a resource management tool that we can use that's built in with Windows. This just has a little bit more horsepower behind it. So what we can do, or the choices I'm going to offer, just want to make sure I'm recording, the choices that you can have here is you can run this Process Lasso program either just when you run XPlane or all the time. It depends how much fiddling you want to do. If it's going to be all the time, you might be making some changes before you play XPlane, and then after you play XPlane to just resume normal system stability. So here's your two options, and I'll show you where this is. So if you've installed it and you want to change your mind, it's just up here in the options, general settings, and then reconfigure the way Process Lasso starts. This is also in the installation options. So just make your choice. If you only want it to run when you're going to run XPlane, then just select this. Do not start it, log in, start the core engine, have it launch, there it is, this bottom one down here. Have it launch when you select the graphics user interface. That's if you just want to run it before you play XPlane and then get into it. Or if you want it running all of the time, you can do that as well. I haven't done any productivity testing, so I don't know whether it's going to work with better threaded applications. But for XPlane, it needs some help. XPlane needs some help with the way it handles the threads and the information that's sent to the CPU. So you can do whatever you'd like here. I have it running all the time because I just tinker all the time before I stream or play XPlane, but it's up to you. If you don't want it to handle your other programs that you might be running on your computer, then just run this before you play load up XPlane. So let's do that. So let's just assume you've installed it, you've done all those things. Exit without applying changes, yes. So let me show you what this program has done and how it's going to increase your performance. Now, the performance buff here is, in some places it's hard to notice. Where I see the larger performance that's easily quantifiable is smoothness. I see a really smooth sim when I'm running even at 30 frames or even at just a little bit below. I no longer get these kind of micro stutters that I was seeing quite often. It really has changed the way the sim looks, even at low FPS. And I'll try and demonstrate it here, but it's really hard because I've got it running and I'll need to do reboots and all of these other things. Yeah, I could edit up a video, but I seem to make better videos when I just do them on the fly. So let's just quickly load into XPlane here, and then we'll just show the software and the things that I have done in the software to make a baseline setting for you, and then you can tinker from there. So what I'm really interested in here is other XPlane users. If you talk to me in the comments or come over to my Discord, again, links will be below this, is if you see differences, I really want to know where they are and the settings that you've done. So I'm going to load up an aeroplane now. I'm going to load up the JAL Design A330, which at sometimes is one of the larger frame hogs that there are in the game, albeit, however, a beautiful looking aeroplane in XPlane 11, and we'll load up in Los Angeles here. And lucky we've got XPlane loading times here, so I'm not going to need to edit out an XPlane 10 load session. Yeah, so I would really be interested in knowing what people's experiences are, whether they are seeing the performance I'm getting, because I've held off on making this video because it's so hard to point my finger at exactly where it's made the difference. Where it's made is this program, Process Lasso. So once we've loaded up here, well, actually, while it's loading, we can have a little look at the user interface for Process Lasso here. So what we see is basically Task Manager, Windows Task Manager, but broken up into different things. So I can see here in my all processes, this is everything that's currently running right now on my system or held back in the coche, whether at Windows or anything. There's quite a large amount here. The cool thing about this program, though, as well, is it will keep track of your system time and the total average CPU usage over the lifespan of the system. So you can see over the whole time I've had my computer on over the last 1 week and 5 hours or whatever, the Corsair Link service for my water cooler has used approximately an average of 65% of the CPU. That's cool. I can see if I have any major frame hogs that may not be there. And you'll see XPlane has just popped up right in the top here, so that's what we care about. So we also have at the top here a graph which is showing us some stuff that we really don't care about. There's a blue line that tells us how much RAM we have loaded into the system. We have processor use and responsiveness. The responsiveness thing just tells you if your system's locking up and if there was any restraints. If you see a yellow bar popping up, it tells you something's clogged up the data that's getting to the CPU. Over here, we can see the loads across all of the threads. Let me just go ahead and get my little pen out here. So this is the load across the threads where we have a physical core, our second physical core, third physical core, fourth physical core, and then let's just go ahead and change colors. And these are the threads, those ones there. These are the threads. So this is where hyperthreading is doing all of its work. And we can see how this load is being distributed across the cores and the threads. You'll notice right away that I have a larger thread usage here than I do at this front core. I'll go over that in a second. So let's go over you just installed it, you want to set this up, you don't care about my system, you care about making your system run sweet. So the first thing you're going to do with the system here, let me get this positioned into the right spot, there we go. The first thing you're going to do is go to main. You're going to come down here and you're going to click gaming mode enabled. That's what you want to do, gaming mode, turn that bad boy on. After you've done that, that's just about it. No, I'm kidding. There's a little bit more. What we're also then going to do here is we're going to switch from all processors over to active processors. So you can see here, this has got everything that is actually running in the background of my computer and what's actually taking data. I can sing XPlane here, and the first thing I want to do, this is just going to be for XPlane. I'm just going to deal with XPlane, and then I'll let you tinker with yourself. I'm going to right-click on the XPlane thing here, and I want to classify it as a game. Once it's classified as a game, it's going to set, Process Lasso is going to set a new power setting for Windows to operate in, which will help stop core parking. I think this is probably the main cause of the micro stutters, is Windows start saying, oh, okay, that thread or that core isn't really being used. I'll just put it to sleep here for a little while, or I'll throttle the core, and then all of a sudden XPlane gives you a whole heap of data, and that core needs to fire up again and allow data to start streaming. What this process does is it turns that off. Once I've turned it onto game mode, there's no core parking, there's no core throttling or anything like that. It's allowing all of the data to go through to the particular cores that they need to go to. So I've turned it onto game mode. The other thing I can now do is start playing with some of the priorities. Now when we go to game mode, it pretty much does everything for us. We don't need a tinker. It really is now up to how much you want to tinker with your computer. So I can go here and I can set how the priority of this program. You can see it's currently at normal. Well, I actually want it to be high on the priority list, so I'm going to put it up to high. So far, I found the real time, this priority class, I found real time doesn't work so well with the sim. So I put it up to high. The CPU affinity, this is where I can actually tell the computer what cores I want the game to run in. If I want a specific core I want the game to run in, this is where I can tell it. So this is where I can tell it to go. So I'm going to right-click XPlane here. I'm going to go CPU affinity, go to always because I want this to happen all the time. And I have several options here. I can avoid non-physical cores or hyperthreading, so I can effectively turn hyperthreading off for just this game, but also leave hyperthreading on for everything else. So it's pretty interesting if you're using your computer for other things at the same time. Perhaps, say, watching a stream or YouTube or a movie or something on your other screens. You can turn hyperthreading off for just this game, just XPlane, while still allowing hyperthreading to exist for other processes that are going on in the background of your computer. I leave my hyperthreading on so far. The one under below it there is the select CPU affinity. We're going to go in there. This is going to give us this box here. What I have done with my XPlane right now is I have offloaded the number one core and number one thread, the hyperthreading core. Windows typically uses core 1 and hyperthreading 1 for all of the Windows background stuff. So what I'm trying to do here is push all of the data and all of the other work that my computer's doing away from the cores where XPlane is doing work. So what I've done for XPlane is I've said I do not want XPlane to run on core 1 or hyperthread 1. Don't want it to go there at all, but I do want XPlane to run on every other core and thread that is available. And I've just done that by ticking the boxes. And just press OK. And that is why we see a larger load on these two cores, on these three cores and 3 hyperthreading things, hyperthreading things, so technical, and we've left this single core to handle the other things my computer's doing. After I've done that, I'm pretty much ready to go. Jump into the sim and have a look around. Now, like I've loaded up in here, I can fly around XPlane 11 here. Yeah, I don't have ground units on, but the smoothness of my sim now, even in LA with huge amounts of 3D here, is significantly improved. My frame rate it's still nothing to write home about. I'm still 30 to 40 frames, but the smoothness on my screen is something I have noticed definitely, and I've probably seen maybe a 5 FPS buff at LA. In other places, it's a little bit higher, just with using Process Lasso. It'd probably be worthwhile showing you my settings right now, right? It probably would be. Let me go ahead. This is my current graphics settings. i7 6700K overclocked at 4.7, and I've got an EVGA 1070 for the win card with a slight overclock as well. And these are my XPlane settings here. I probably could bump the texture quality and the anti-aliasing up and all sorts of other things like that. But this is what I get. I want stability and I want smoothness. And with these settings, that's what I get. So it really, really adds, even when I'm at 30 frames here, the smoothness of the sim, and I don't know if this will come out in the recording, it's really, really hard to show. I don't have the horsepower to do a 60 FPS recording, but it's smoother, it's clearer. You have to excuse the cockpit's a little bit dark. I've got reshade plugin working right now. But I see a difference. I see a difference. So I think that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about, is just to give you the basics and let you do it. I will segue on, well, not really segueing, I'll just show you how when I'm streaming and stuff like that, and I really, really care about high FPS, there's more things I can do as well. So with the active processors, these are things that my computer is doing right now. These are the things that my computer's doing right now, which is XPlane. I've got Chrome in the background, Discord. You can see all those things on in the background. However, there's things going on in the background that Windows are controlling as well, and I can make changes to that as well, back over in all processors. So if I really, really want to squeeze out all the performance I can get, I can tell all of these other little processors that sometimes are sitting at idle, sometimes are doing something. I can offload all of that from the main CPU, the main cores that I'm using for XPlane, onto Cores 1 Hyperthreading 1. And the reason why I'd want to do this is, well, I just want the sim to run smooth. So I can do that really simply. Just press Control A in this All Processors section, get everything blue, hold Control and just deselect this. You can do it anyway, just selecting all except for XPlane, and then I'm going to right-click, Priority. I can change if I really wanted. I could put to normal, but everything seems to be at normal. The synergy, I do also want that to be... No, this will be fine. We can go CPU affinity here, and I'll just set it to current. So I'll set it to current. So what that means is every time I load Process Lasso, it's going to revert back to its standard settings. If I put it into current, it's not going to remember it, and I'm not going to have any system lag or lockups next time I'm doing like Photoshop or video editing or anything like that. So I'm going to select the CPU affinity, and I'm going to offload all of this from all of the other cores just to core 1 where Windows is. I'm going to press OK. And so now what I've done is the literal only thing that the cores 2, 3, and 4 are doing is XPlane. That is all they are doing. And I might have seen maybe a 1 FPS bump there. Oh, we're getting a mad lag for some reason. Whatever. It was probably the synergy thing. I'm probably going to need to offload that synergy. We can see here, just that little bump there, the processor use just went up for some reason. But in any case, now, all of those 3 CPUs, and yeah, okay, I'm not using one core here, but the ability for XPlane to now just stream all of its data and have its own specific threads to send its data. Yeah, I'm seeing maybe a 1 or a 2 FPS bump from just what I was spamming before. But again, the smoothness is there. I can also see my CPU time has dropped just a little bit. It's... I don't know, like I'm saying, it's really hard to actually quantify the actual differences here without uninstalling, reinstalling, having things all back to normal, or just running a Windows thing. So what I'd like to is to leave that with you guys and give it a run and see if you're seeing the performance buff that I am. And yeah, okay, we're still not seeing those 60 FPS that we really would like to see in a sim, but I'm seeing smooth simming, and smooth simming to me is very important. It really is very, very important. it really changes the way, you know the feeling, right? You're coming through a set of clouds, it's bumpy, it's gusty, and you can't even hold a heading or an altitude or an attitude because the sim will kind of bump around and not pick up a control input or whatever. So being at 30 frames is not so much of a problem. I don't think it's a massive problem being at 30 frames, but it being smooth is. Smoothness is a real problem here. And this Process Lasso thing, it's done it for me. It's working for me. I'm interested to know if it works for other people as well. So I'll recap again. I know, bad video. I'll recap again the levels that we can go at here. We can just install Process Lasso to run when I load Windows, or I can install Process Lasso and just know that before I load XPlane, I'm going to open it up and I'm going to see what the hell's happening. I'm going to open it up and let it start its engine and deal with all of the Windows stuff. Then after I've gone in, I'm going to enable game mode. And if that's all you do, if all you enable is game mode and you say, all right, I don't want to touch anything else, my hands are done, you will still see a small buff. It stops this core parking and it stops all these other things that the Windows threading scheduler kind of seems to screw up with XPlane. So if that's all you do, go gaming mode enabled and then go into active processes, right click XPlane, set it to classify as a game. If that's all you do, I think you will still see a buff. I did. I noticed the buff, and that's all I did. I had no idea about the program. Now I've learned a little bit more, I'm able to spread this load of these processes across things that I would like to do. And I can even do the same thing here, but I'm getting distracted again. So if that's all you do, that's fine. After you've done that, if you want to eke out a little bit more performance, you can go to all processes, push all of those processes just to core 1 and core 0 and core 1. And if I want to do even more, I can keep tinkering, come in here, and my active processes are the running right now. I can go ahead and go to current. Oh, jeez. Can't even click properly. Oh, that's not the control button. CPU affinity, go to current, and I can push all of these active processes away from the XPlane cores. So all that's happening now is data from XPlane is just streaming to those cores. Everything else is offloaded from them. I could also change the priority class from normal to lower. There's a whole heap of other tweaking you can do here. This program's designed for servers and high workload scenarios where Windows isn't able to keep up with the scheduling, and you can set it yourself. And I kind of like that. I kind of like that I can set things how I want or how I need for any particular task I'm doing. Windows does a good job for most of the time. It just doesn't seem to do as good of a job with XPlane. There's a minor little hiccup there, and I mean, let's be honest, Windows doesn't care about a tiny little program like XPlane. We do, though, because we mostly run XPlane and we mostly run Windows. I mean, there are some Mac users out there and stuff like that, but even now I'm seeing, when we were looking around before, I was seeing maybe 32 to maybe 36. I'm seeing 40. Well, what are we looking at there? If you, this whole time I didn't preface this, but if you look up here, I'll try and draw an arrow. There's the FPS counter in the top corner. So if you've gotten this far and you're like, I can't see a difference, what are you talking about? You can monitor, you would have been able to monitor this FPS counter up there. Go back, watch a video where I first started, before I started playing with the Process Lasso program, and just have a look at the FPS counter there, and see the differences. See the differences. I'll probably annotate at the start of the video saying, look up here. Look up here, that's where the FPS counter is. Yeah, okay, I don't have the screens on in the jar design and stuff like that. That's fine, the screens aren't on. I know it's not 100% performance look, but give it a go. And my reversers are out for some reason. Of course they are. For those of you wondering about this livery, this is done by Cessna Rocks. He's over on the org, and I think he's actually putting up some liveries on our website as well now, the aerosimgaming.com website. But it's in 4K. If you haven't seen his liveries before, seriously, I wouldn't be shouting him out if they didn't look this good. They really are. Even the details down to words are being put back where they should be, the extinguisher spots, all of the annotations on the external part of the aircraft. They're fantastic. Yeah, okay, Air Canada doesn't have the 330 with this, but whatever. It still looks wicked. It looks absolutely amazing. And those reflections, though. Oh! Good job, XPlane. It can look good, and it can perform pretty well. Anyway, I hope that helps. Please, I'm really interested to know what you think. Let me know in Discord. Let me know in the comments. Yeah, hope you enjoyed. Take care. Look after yourselves. Anything I wouldn't do. See you soon. Bye.